Welcome back to the Out of Bounds podcast. I am Charlie Calieri alongside
Gavin Williams.
And today we'll be switching it up a little bit, a little Friday edition of the Out of Bounds podcast. And we'll be talking about college football today, the conference championships that are coming up. But starting off, we'll be talking about the coaching carousel. Very busy time of year. Transfer portal is going to be getting going soon for
January
football.
1.
January 1. And a lot of coaches have already been on the move. Gav, we're both pretty excited to be talking about this, but you're stoked to be talking about this. Let's get into it right now.
Yeah, let's get right into it. So, obviously, we're going to start with the most notable one that happened because I know it sparks a lot of controversy, so we'll talk about it right away. Head coach of Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin, after spending 6 seasons with the team, decides to pack his bags before the playoffs and go to LSU.
First of all, let's just talk about what we think about that. What are your thoughts about that?
Initial thoughts. Good for LSU for firing Brian Kelly. Good for LSU for landing one of the best coaches in the nation. It's just bad look. It's just a bad look for Lane Kiffin. Because he's had 5 exits in his career. All of them have been dirty. All of them have not been good. We date it back to Tennessee and USC and Alabama and now Ole Miss. I don't know. He has a lot of dirty exits in this history and his own history, but for his best decision for getting $25 million to work with, I think it was best for him to move to LSU.
I agree. It was best for him. I think the way that he handled it, I think that the way that both schools handled it, it was very immature.
I think it was too.
I think that we got a lot of conflicting reports from him, from the team, and from just overall
athletic directors,
everybody in general. Because there was reports that Lane Kiffin said he talked to the team. They all wanted him to still coach. One of the guys commented on that and said, "Who are you talking about? Like, not us." So that's a little conflicting right there. But at the same time, you got to respect Lane Kiffin for taking the job that was offered to him. LSU is one of the most premier jobs in college football.
Yeah.
You always want to be the head coach of the LSU Tigers. And especially with that, quote, salary cap that he's going to be able to play with, Ole Miss wasn't going to be able to offer him that. And he might not have had an opportunity to get this kind of a job because the Alabama job's wrapped up for a while. Georgia job's wrapped up for a while. Ohio State seems to be wrapped up, at least for the time being. Notre Dame's still wrapped up. All these premier schools, LSU's the only one that doesn't have a set guy. He could be the guy to be that guy.
Yeah, I agree.
At the same time, personally, I think this is just more of a flaw for the NCAA.
Yeah, I do too.
This should not be allowed to happen. You should not allow a coach midseason to leave his team to work the whole years on recruiting these guys, on developing these guys, on getting these guys where they are to number 6 in the country.
Yep.
Number 6, the best season in Ole Miss history.
Yep.
And you just abandon the team. I hope they go on to win the national championship.
That'd be awesome.
At the same time, I don't, because I don't want his name to be tied to that team.
Yeah.
Especially if they go on to win it in these last 4 games. And at the same time, he gets an incentive for every game that they play in. He gets $125,000. I don't know if you saw that.
I didn't see
every
that.
win, it's more money. And then if they win a championship, I think he gets $1 million from LSU. This is from LSU's money.
Wow.
But it's just a incentive for him. It was an incentive for him to leave Ole Miss right now before the playoff, just for all that money. All that extra money. So he's still rooting for Ole Miss in this playoffs. Don't get that twisted. For the next 4 games, he's the biggest Rebels fan ever. But after that, it's all Tigers. And I'm sure some guys in that Ole Miss locker room are saying, hey, we're packing our bags going to LSU. I'm sure some of them, and those guys are probably staying quiet right now. But I think a lot of them are going to be filled with that. And I think that could really carry Ole Miss. It's just a weird time in college football right now.
I hate the calendar. Calendar's got to be fixed.
It's the worst. And especially now with the expanded playoff, people have really realized in the second year, and especially this year where the reseeding is kind of, it's not as reseeded, I guess. These conference championships actually are more harmful.
Yeah, and if you lose.
Than being out. Like Ole Miss right now, they're sitting pretty in there.
They are.
They
get a week break.
To be realistic, Alabama's not going to fall out of this playoff.
They better not.
If they lose to Georgia.
They better not.
Unless they get smoked.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's still a chance they get kicked out because they're playing an extra game.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be penalized because they're playing an extra game. Like a team like BYU. They might be able to stay in there even if they lose this game. At the same time, they might get kicked out for a team like Miami who gets to sit on the couch and watch 2 inferior teams in the ACC play we'll talk about in a little bit. The whole thing needs to be fixed. And I heard some rumors. Sorry for that I'm rambling here, but just a lot
Go
of
for it, man.
Not Diego Pavia. Sorry.
What a guy.
Vanderbilt,
Yeah.
the school in general. They applied to play an extra game this week.
That's awesome.
And they had it set up with another school, and I don't know what happened. The ADs agreed to it. The coaches, the teams all agreed to it, just to play a preliminary game. And I think maybe the NCAA shut it down or just didn't come to be. But that would have been cool too if you figure it out this week, where if you don't make a conference championship, you still get reseeded into a similar match game where it's kind of a play-in to get into the playoff. That could be something they do in the future.
I think so.
It's either that or you get rid of the conference championships. I think that's.
But you can't get rid of the conference championships.
Which you can't. But that's kind of the deal right now.
I saw this thing from John Gruden this morning where he just made his own thing where he said, you know what? I don't like how these guys get two weeks on the couch. He matched up everybody in the top 12, not against each other, but he matched up against. It was like Oregon and JMU. He's like, JMU, you win this game, you're in the playoff. You lose this game, you're out. All right, and then he did that with every team, and he guess what he had? He had Notre Dame and Miami playing, which we keep talking about this game.
Don't you think that's kind of a form of an extended playoff, though, of an expanded playoff?
I think it's just a great play-in. This is why it's just a play-in week? I think it is a play-in week. I think that's what it should be.
That's what it should be called, play-in week.
Play-in week.
Conference championship play-in week.
Yep. You win, you're in. You lose, you're out. Depending on the matchup.
I'm all for more football. I'm not sure how that would go over with the rest of the teams.
I know, yeah.
But at the same time,
because the top 8 are probably protected, top 9 are protected.
But
and then you have like those last 3 or 4 teams that
unless
are
you
battling.
say, hey, these conference championships don't mean anything for the rankings, which would be kind of weird. But that means that they shouldn't count towards the record. Then it's kind of a weird.
I don't know, because then you have a team like Vanderbilt who's in the SEC 10-2. And they're not getting in.
14th ranked. They're not not able to push up anymore. That's why they wanted to play that game because they needed to prove their only way in was to maybe play a Miami. It's probably the team that they were trying to play a Miami and try to get in because that's kind of a win-in scenario for both those teams, especially if Texas Tech goes on to beat BYU in that game. And but let's get back to what we wanted to talk about, the coaching carousel.
Yeah, absolutely.
Real quick. But Lane Kiffin, like you said, going to LSU.
Craziest hire,
from Ole Miss. Just insane. It needs to be fixed. The calendar does need to be fixed. Shouldn't be able to make any moves whatsoever. Transfers, bringing guys in, or coaches leaving should not be able to happen until after the season. The national championship is done.
Yep, I agree. We're going to get into Virginia Tech. Fired Brent Pry. Brought in a coach who got fired from Penn State, legendary head coach James Franklin. And James Franklin is already on the move. He has flipped almost 8 commits, 3 to 5 star recruits, flipped them from Penn State to go to Virginia Tech. I love that.
And Penn State had the other day I saw something that he had, or Penn State, had one of the worst recruiting classes in all of college football, all of FBS football. I think they had the 3rd lowest.
Wow.
Out of all of them. I'm sure that was because they had decommits from the school. But some breaking news that we just got across the desk a little bit ago, 7 minutes ago to be exact from Peter Thamel. Penn State finalizing a deal with Iowa State's coach, Matt Campbell, to be the Nittany Lions starting or new head coach.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of that hire.
Interesting.
I do like Matt Campbell. He does great things for Iowa State.
What does that mean for Iowa State now?
But Iowa State, but I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of someone from the Big 12 taking on such a role in the Big 10.
It's the step that I think they need to take a risk with the guy.
They do.
I think that he needs to take a risk in his career.
He's got to take his own risk,
to kind of keep going forward in this thing. But at the same time, it's going to be hard to compete with now, some powerhouses, Michigan, Ohio State, who are set up for the future, obviously. And now Indiana in that mix as well as one of the teams that seems to be sustaining. And that's just in the original Big Ten. And then you get an Oregon.
Yeah.
USC is good usually every year. You mix in all those schools. It's going to be tough sledding for the Penn State and Indy Lions to get back on that track to where they were and where they were going to be. But, that's the decision that they chose to make throughout this season. So
yeah, and I'm going to go right into the next one. We have a huge game tonight: North Texas versus Tulane. Both head coaches are able to coach, but both of them are leaving. We'll get into Tulane in a little bit. I'm going to get into specifically Eric Morris from North Texas going to replace Mike Gundy, one of our favorites. Come after me. I'm a grown man.
I'm 40.
This is one of our favorites.
Shout out to Jenny Carlson, the reporter. of that.
Who asked the question?
Who we zoomed with a few times.
Yeah, who wrote the article to make him go off like that?
Because he's a man. He's 40. Go after him.
But
what an incredible moment that we knew didn't have that many layers to it too.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. But Eric Morris, I think this is a great step in his direction. Oklahoma State, those Cowboys, they want to be back. They want to be the top of the Big 12 again. Let's see if Eric Morris can get it done. That's a great hire for them. That on CBS Sports is great.
Those fans were still showing out at the end of the year, and the team was awful. One of the worst football teams I've ever seen.
Yeah.
One of the worst football teams I've ever seen.
Yeah, and I'm going to go right into it just because I saw this hire. Didn't really know don't really know too much about it, and then all of a sudden I saw a couple TikToks yesterday of this guy speaking to his team. We have Jamarcus Shepard, who is an assistant on Alabama right now. He's going to Oregon State, which I probably wouldn't have never talked about Oregon State. I mean, the Pac-12, that's going to be realigned next year. It's kind of weird, but I just love this guy's messages to his team. He's fired up. He gives a lot of credit to DeBoer for helping him get to where he is now. I just need to highlight that one really quick with Trent Bray on the way out for Oregon State. We also have Memphis' head coach taking over Sam Pittman's job at Arkansas. Have a couple cold bears. Sam Pittman kind of almost ran that program into the ground, and seeing somebody that's hungry coming from a Memphis team that was very good this year, they're giving this grade a B. I agree with that grading. But Ryan Silverfield, I mean, I think it's a big step in his direction to try to bring back Woo Pig and Razorback football. We're going to move right on to, we have the firing of a head coach who was on the hot seat for 2 years, in my opinion, Billy Napier from Florida. He got fired from Florida this year, one of the legendary 2015 Alabama assistant coaches under that Nick Saban squad. He's going to JMU now, where he gets to restructure his career, and that is a great program to take over, in my opinion. I mean, do you want to have anything on that?
No, I mean, I think obviously, with Signetti and his staff, a few of those Indiana guys were also rumored for that JMU job.
Yeah.
But that's a program that just continues to show how good they were at the FCS level, now moving to FBS, not skipping a beat and continuing that dominance. It's just a sustainable, great run organizational program, I guess. Not organization. Wow, that's kind of where we're at right now in college football program. And obviously this week, playing in another conference championship game, which is huge for that program.
Yeah,
and a chance to get into the playoff too.
Yeah, and Florida just landed John Sumrall, which I said I was going to bring Tulane back into this conversation. I think that is a great hire from Florida. I think this guy, he's proven his leadership and his ability through these years at Tulane, where they've become very, very known in the American Conference, and I think that is a great hire for the Florida Gators. So hopefully bring back their winning ways, which they had with Urban Meyer.
SEC is going to have a lot of mixing up in the next little bit, because it seems like a lot of those jobs are shifting around and getting just kind of jumbled. I guess I don't know.
So we also had Jay Norvell, who's a notable coach in the Mountain West for Colorado State, who got fired. He had a lot of moxie to him for this Colorado State Ram team. But they're going to bring in UConn's head coach, who UConn had a crazy year this year, in Jim Mora. And I think that's a good hire. I think Jim Mora could have gone higher. I don't think he had to settle for a group of 5 team. I think he could have gotten a lower power 5 team, like we have an opening in Cal right now. That could have been where he went. It's not. And I think that is a really... They're saying this grade's an A. I don't think Jim Mora had to settle
Jim Mora
for
knows that
a 3-win team. With
the UConn team that they have, obviously not aligned with anybody. He knows that he has the ability to bring some of those UConn guys with him and win a conference. I think that's really what he wants to do.
And then keep building.
And be able to get in the playoff. I think UConn, at that point, they would have to go undefeated to get in there.
Because they're an independent.
It's basically impossible for them to get in. UConn eventually will have to move into a conference if they want to continue this relevance of college football and not just being a basketball school. But Jim Mora, I don't want to say he settled, because Colorado State's still a great program, but he definitely could have gone higher.
We're going to go into the next, who I know a ton of fans are so happy about this firing, with Hugh Freeze being out as a head coach as Auburn.
Another layer of this SEC coaches getting jumbled up.
And Alex Golish, getting hired by Auburn, the USF's head coach, who USF had a great season as well. They were looking to be into the college football playoff early in the season. They kind of had a fall off, but still a very good head coach. I don't know how I feel about this one quite yet. That one's pretty new to judge for me. I'm going to get right into a hire that I'm not okay with. I'm not. Personally. I like the guy's attitude. I don't like his resume. Michigan State just fired head coach Jonathan Smith, which I was okay with. He came over from Oregon State on a very good Oregon State team. They were ranked many, many times, comes over to Michigan State, fumbles his bag, gets fired, gets canned. Even after that last win of the season over Maryland, just had to give a quick shout out there, beating Ian Kennedy's Terps. Hiring Pat Fitzgerald. I was not okay with this hire at all. I didn't like this. I mean, his last season with Northwestern, I think he had 2 wins, and that's okay.
Honestly, more more that I think about it, I think Jim Mora would have been a great fit with Michigan State. Honestly.
I think so too.
Would have been able to bring them back to relevance in the Big Ten as well.
I mean, this is a program that's fighting to be good again. I mean, they're trying after this whole Mel Tucker thing, where we have really gone down ever since Mel Tucker, ever since D'Antonio got fired or retired. It has just been awful in East Lansing for football. I mean, the last notable guy they really had was Kenneth Walker. That team, that was like the last team to really beat Michigan as well. So this is just an awful, awful, awful way for Michigan State to try to revamp their program with a coach who was proven that he should have never been welcomed back into the Big Ten before he proved himself again. And without even proving himself, he's right back into the Big Ten. I don't like this hire at all from a Michigan State Spartan fan. We also have an interesting hire here. Mark Stoops got fired from Kentucky, which makes sense. But they're going to bring in Will Stein. And I think the biggest reason why Will Stein probably took this job is because he has family ties with Kentucky and attended there. And I don't know. I think Will Stein could have had another year at Oregon. Probably could have went somewhere a little bit better than Kentucky. I mean, that is just a tough school. Like that Will Levis era was fun because that's where they're trying to show that they weren't just a basketball school. I don't know.
It's one of those weird things where it's like he has to really make a splash in the next 2 years, or that's just going to be seen as a failure of a hire. It's just one of those situations. It's not really more about him. It's about just where the program is and where in the ties to the SEC. Like, you always got to be competitive, but just realistically, a school like Kentucky, they're only going to get one or two shots within a decade probably to be competitive. So, good luck to him, but that's gonna be tough for a Kentucky team to stay competitive in the SEC, especially with, once again, all these coaches coming in and moving around in there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm gonna end it up right here on the last hire. I mean, there are more hires, but I'm just gonna end up here. Obviously, we talked about Alex Golesh going to Auburn. Now we will end up with the USF head coach Brian Hartline, coming from Ohio State, one of the assistants there. I think this is a great hire for USF. And that's typically like what we like to see is we see an assistant go down to maybe a group of 5, bring them up, see what happens. They bet on themselves, kind of like we saw it from Kurt Signetti going down to JMU, building himself up. And I think this is good for Brian Hartline's head coaching debut for USF, taking a program that's on pretty good skates right now. And they seem like to be a popular pick for some of these group of 5 recruits that they like the way USF and Tulane and North Texas, they like and Boise. I mean, I'm not leaving them out either, or UNLV. Those are probably the 4-5 teams I would group into like the top of the group of 5s. I think those are all good for all these 2-3 star recruits.
Yeah, let's start right there actually with those teams and predict some of these conference championship games, which will be going on tonight and tomorrow as we're recording this on the 5th and 6th of December. Going to be some great nights of football coming up, especially with Sunday, the NFL always too.
Oh, yeah.
And by the way, we're going to have another prediction episode for our college football playoff brackets coming out next week. And then also, once again, an NFL episode. And those will be the last 2 episodes for this season.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for that. It's going to be emotional.
It is.
It's going to be emotional last 2 episodes, but still It's been fun this season 6.
Yeah, absolutely. But with Selection Sunday coming up noon on Sunday before the kickoff, we have to determine who will be in.
Let's do it.
The brackets.
I think that starting off here with this is the Sun Belt. This is the Sun Belt right here. The Troy and James Madison game, which is being played at Bridgeport Stadium in Harrisburg, Virginia. I'm going to take James Madison.
I am too. They are rolling right now, and they are looking to roll right into the playoff, specifically what we will see from the ACC, which we will get into in a little bit.
What's pretty cool about this scheduling, and originally I thought it was just Group of 5 one day and Power 5 the next day, which Power 5 isn't even Power 4 now.
Yeah.
But it just clicked in my head that all the games on Friday today are home games for the conference winner.
Yep.
So it's actually a James Madison home game, and all as well as some of the rest of these teams as well. And then tomorrow is all the location games.
Yep.
Which is pretty cool as well. So then the second game here, Kennesaw State in Jacksonville for the Conference USA Championship.
Yeah, Jack State, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Kennesaw State in this game. I'm going to go with Kennesaw State to, is it CUSA?
CUSA?
I'm going to take them to win CUSA this year.
I agree with you. I think that Kennesaw State Owls are one of the newer programs, and they were awful to start in FBS, but now have really picked it up, obviously. And I think that they're going to go into Jacksonville, Alabama, and beat up on the Gamecocks there.
All right.
In the Conference USA Championship. Moving on now to the American Championship, which is on ABC at 8 o'clock tonight. Huge game, one of the biggest games of the college football season. I'll be locked into this one. I know you will be too.
When you're in.
Yeah, basically when you're in, unless they play a really close game and JMU absolutely blows the brakes off of Troy. Maybe that's the way they get in, but you're right. Basically winning in. I think this goes away North Texas, honestly. I've been a North Texas fan for the last few years. They were my first ever dynasty on NCAA 25 on the first one that came back. So I always have them near and dear to my heart. And I think they get out of this with a win once again on the road. I think 2 road teams win so far, 2 out of 3.
This is a great game. 8 o'clock. Get your popcorn ready. I don't care if you don't watch college football. Watch this game.
These teams are putting it all on the line for these coaches, too.
Yeah, they really are.
They know that it's a big opportunity for them to showcase themselves before the transfer portal.
Yeah, absolutely. To hopefully gain some recruits and flip some commitments. I also agree. I love the mean green in this game. I like the way that they have been flying around on defense especially, and I think that defense is going to be a steel or iron, whichever way you want it, curtain against this Tulane Green Wave. I love this game right here. I will be tuned in and locked in for the American Championship. I am super excited. I think having one of these teams making the playoff, I think if there is an upset from a group of 5, I think it's one of these 2 teams who makes that upset.
Yeah, I mean, definitely North Texas is, in both of these offenses, they're just explosive. So I think there's going to be a lot of points in this game. But like you said, I don't think it's going to be the defense necessarily getting a ton of stops, but it's the important stops that really matter in that game.
Yeah.
Moving on to the Mountain West Championship, UNLV going to Boise, playing on that blue turf.
Yep.
Playing the Boise State Broncos. I'm going to take Boise State in this one once again, winning that Mountain West Championship. Should be a good one also in that game too.
Yeah, we have 10-2 UNLV against 8-4 Boise, which we were not expecting. A lot of people had Boise State in as the group of 5
It started
champion.
off really slow. It was one of those. But Maddox Madsen and that team, he's really gone to show that, obviously Ashton Genty pushed them to where they were last year, but he's still a really good quarterback, and he's making some waves, and I'm not sure if he has any eligibility left, but if he does, he's going to go to a high-level school. If not, then he's going to maybe get some looks for the draft.
Yeah, absolutely. In this game, I also have Boise State. I think I'm just a heavy, heavy believer in the home team in this game. And I think with Boise controlling their own destiny, they're not going to the playoff, but this is their championship, and they're going to play like it. So Boise State Broncos, they will win the Mountain West this year.
Shifting to Saturday, and huge game at noon in Jerry World, Big 12 championship. I always love the noon game for the Big 12 championship.
Oh, it's great.
It's always so nice.
It's always great.
It's
a great way to kick off the day.
Oh, it really is. But it starts at 11 there. I just put that together.
It does.
That's really weird. But it's BYU taking on Texas Tech in essentially a home game for Texas Tech. I know it's a far drive from Lubbock to Dallas, but it's definitely closer than Provo.
Yeah.
But I'm going to take the Red Raiders in this one. The Raiders. I think they pull this one off. This should be a good game as well.
I agree. I think with this game specifically, it is hard to beat a team twice. But we did see Texas Tech wallop on BYU at home. So having this quote-unquote home field advantage in Texas, there's going to be a lot of Tech fans there. I think that Texas Tech I think they opened this game as 12.5-point favorites last time I checked. I think they cover that. I think they win by 14. I think that Texas Tech will roll into the playoff. They're number 4 right now in the country. I think they roll right into that 4 seed.
Wow. Getting a bye there, too, if that's the case.
Yeah.
Miami, Ohio going to Ford Field and taking on the Western Michigan Broncos. This is a big game for me, personally.
The MAC.
The MAC. I love the MAC. But even deeper than that, my second dynasty team in College Football 26 is the Western Michigan Broncos. And guess who is? It's a combined dynasty online. Ian Kennedy's in that one. And
Wow.
Guess what his team is?
Miami,
Ohio Redhawks.
Yep.
So this is a big game for us. And the third team that almost got in was the Ohio Bobcats, and that's RT's team. So
Okay.
that was pretty interesting there. But I got to go with my Broncos here. I know that Brock Lowry is going to be running all over the field and throwing it, slinging it too. So I have the Broncos in this one. Broncos.
This is a game where I'm purely picking, not based on what I see on paper, but what I just feel in my heart. And what I feel in my heart are the Miami, Ohio. I have a good feeling about Miami, Ohio in this game. I think that they have nothing to lose. Both these teams have nothing to lose. They're not making the playoffs, either one of these teams. I don't even know if we'll ever see a MAC team make the playoff. I'm not going to lie. But I would love to see Miami, Ohio raise another conference championship in the MAC.
Georgia at Alabama, or quote at Alabama, is the SEC championship once again.
It's in Atlanta.
And this is a game that we did predict in our last college football episode that we had. In that episode, I had Alabama winning that game. I'm still going to have them winning. Ty Simpson and his team, Kalen DeBoer, all them, going into Atlanta once again and winning that game.
Yeah, this is always a tough matchup for Alabama. In essence, it is pretty much a home game for Georgia, specifically in Atlanta in the Mercedes-Benz Dome. Man, this is a tough matchup. I mean, you have two great coaches, specifically in Kirby Smart, just an absolute masterclass of a coach he is. And then you have a Kalen DeBoer who, when he has these games on the line, he still needs to prove to Alabama fans that he's the guy. And in this game, I'm specifically going to take Ty Simpson over Gunnar Stockton. I like Ty Simpson. He's a Heisman favorite, along with
it's really going to shake up the rankings,
Mendoza.
too.
I think so, too. I think we see Alabama creep into that top 5, where we see maybe a Georgia go to 6, where maybe they push Ole Miss to a 7 or 8 seed.
In this scenario, too, because of the Ohio State-Indiana game that we're going to be picking next year, this could be a Texas Tech in the 2 seed.
It could be.
Scenario.
It could be.
When this is all said and done. And that is super interesting, too.
That is.
Depending on how that game turns out. And let's talk about that game right now, too.
The real game at 8 o'clock, because nobody's tuning into the other game at 8
Well, let's talk about that game then.
Yeah,
the
let's
Duke
talk
at
about
Virginia game, the ACC championship. Duke, obviously, infamously, sneaking in there at 7-5. What an unreal way to get in.
Disgusting.
And Virginia, obviously, been
historical season for them.
Exceeding expectations all year, and continuing to do it. Looking for an ACC championship this year that was not expected of them.
Mm-hmm.
Beating out a team like Miami, beating out a team like Pitt, all those other teams that were SMU, all the teams that were competitive in that conference. But Virginia and Duke is the matchup. I'm going to take Virginia in this one pretty handily.
I am too, but I do want to talk about the ACC in general really quick. We have an interesting scenario if Virginia finds a way to lose this game. We have the chance to have 2 group of 5 members to be representing and no ACC members representing in the college football playoff. And at this point in the year, I want Duke to win. I don't want Virginia in the playoff.
I do too. I think that would just be so much more fun.
It would. It really would.
And especially, I don't know. I think it'd just be more fun.
I'm just not the biggest fan of the ACC this year. I think whoever gets in, if somebody does get in from the ACC, I think they will get walloped in the first round. I know it is impossible for Duke to make the dance in this scenario. If Duke wins, that's their championship. That's their whole year. If Virginia wins, they probably get into the playoff, which I'm still not the biggest fan about, but I do understand it. give the Cavaliers their flowers if they win. I would just love to see two group of 5 members in there, but yes, at the end of the day, I will also go with the Virginia Cavaliers hoisting the ACC trophy at the end of the day.
And then the number 1 versus number 2.
Here we go. Now
Big Ten
this is the
championship.
popcorn. 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in Lucas Oil Stadium for the Big Ten championship.
Indiana, Ohio State. Hopefully, it's on Fox. Hopefully, Gus Johnson will be on the call.
I think he will be.
And his quarterback, Joel Klatt. But once again, this game is a game that we did predict back in that episode we did a few weeks ago. I had Ohio State in that game. I'm still going to take them in this game. I just think that something about Indiana at some point, to me, I hope not, and I hope they win this game, but something's going to fall off at some point. If any team is... Like, I could see this being a scenario where they drop to 5 or 6 and they lose in the first round.
Yeah, kind of like a last year situation.
It definitely could be like that. Yeah, it was like that. I forgot about that. Could definitely be like that again. So with that being said, I'm going to have Ohio State winning this game and continuing to be the number 1 seed in just their dominant season.
I am so excited for this game because this is where we truly see the magnitude of how somebody like Fernando Mendoza plays against these top teams. We don't see Indiana being paired against. They had a pretty easy schedule. Let's be honest here. They had a pretty easy schedule to get here, and I'm not saying Ohio State didn't, because they also had a pretty easy schedule. Both these teams had a very, very I don't know what the winnable schedule, favorable schedule for their respective teams. I like the moxie that Curt Cignetti has for his team, his confidence in his players. I like the way that Fernando Mendoza, the transfer from Cal, carries himself and how he's a leader and not a selfish player. I just don't think it's enough to beat Ryan Day's Ohio State Buckeyes. I think there's some crazy guys on that team. I think Sayin really proved a lot in that Michigan game about playing against harsh climates and harsh competition, because in a rivalry, any game is any game. I also like what I see out of the wide receivers from Ohio State, specifically in Jeremiah Smith against this Indiana team, and then you have guys on defense like both styles. I don't know. I just think that Ohio State has the firepower to get this one done. Unfortunately, I also want Indiana to win too. If they win, do we see an Indiana number 1 seed? I think
so.
We do.
Yeah, no, 100%.
That would be really. That would be fun.
And you know what? We'll answer that question when we're back next week with the bracket, our predictions. Stay tuned for that if you're not following us on our Instagram.
At Out of Bounds Podcast, with a dot between every single word.
Yes, it is, Gavin. And once again, you got anything else?
I am just so excited. I love college conference championship Saturday.
What's going to be the
Friday
out
and
of those
Saturday.
9 games? What's going to be the best game?
Oh, I got 2. I have.
Give me one.
I
want one. I want one.
And
I'm going to give one too.
My one is going to be North Texas and Tulane. I think that will be the greatest game this weekend. I think it will be the closest game. We might have a game winner. I just love that game. If not, it would be Alabama, Georgia.
My prediction is 3 of the games will have either overtime winners or game-winning kicks or late game heroics in that game. I think at least 3 of them.
I like that.
But I was going to pick that game. I'm going to go with a different route. I'm going to take the boring route, Georgia, Alabama.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be an overtime game that is going to be down to the wire.
I hope it is.
I think it's going to end. I think it's going to end with the defensive
stop.
I think it's going to end with the defensive stop or interception by Alabama. That's my prediction.
That would be
there.
electric.
So that would be electric. And as always, we'll see you guys next week for both NFL and college football again. Thank you guys. Have a day.
Have a day.